Players who've won titles will often say they're forever tied to the guys on their team, that going through such an intense experience together bonds you in ways that never fade. So is the same true when you go through an intense experience in the other direction? If your team goes, I don't know, say 20 games without a win, 16 of those losses by double digits, with 15 different starting lineups, 46 straight days of waking up day after day, do you feel, well, actually, no one has to guess how that feels. Here's the clip of Rockets coach Stephen Silas that went viral after Houston's 20th straight loss on Sunday night.
Hey, Coach. Tough one as the streak kind of continues. Did you feel your team getting, tight at all down the stretch? Do you feel like the weight of these losses is kind of building?
Yeah.
The intensity of Silas's anguish there was just palpable. So much it sparked NBA coaches past and present to get in touch to offer support. Steve Kerr, Don Nelson, Luke Walton, Doug Collins all reached out. Doc Rivers called to tell Silas about the time his Celtics lost 18 straight and then won the title the next year. Now, I'm not sure that is in Houston's immediate future, but here is what happened next. When the Rockets took the court again last night, still missing Victor Oladipo, by the way, they managed to look like a functional basketball team. They got both style and substance from John Wall. This Put It in the Louvre 360 was part of John's first triple-double in 5 years. They also got this halftime buzzer beater from Daniel House. Money! And when the final buzzer sounded, they also got, yes, a win. And you could see the joy all over. Yes, that was former Rocket turned TV analyst Calvin Murphy there. The man is 72 years old and as amazing as ever, just saying. Also afterward, Coach Silas, again, this time smiling so widely, you could actually kind of see it through his mask.
To go in the locker room after today's game and everybody's just happy and joyous. It really, it's super cool and great and whatever. I was down and out yesterday. It seems like a week ago right now, but we regroup, we come together, and it feels a lot better.
Silas noting how his players had come together through all that adversity, and I certainly believe that. Although now that Houston has finally snapped its losing streak, right up next on the docket is Thursday's trade deadline, which could see several of those same players shipped to parts unknown. The Rockets are in an interesting position, thanks in part to their losing streak. They are now one of the few teams in the NBA with no illusions about a postseason run. That puts them firmly in the sellers category, and since there are such a small number of sellers with more buyers than ever, they can raise their asking prices. We know Oladipo is most certainly on his way out. He has been on the block pretty much since the moment he was acquired in January, and there could easily be more. In fact, the guys responsible for hanging through and then finally snapping Houston's losing streak could easily never again be on the court together. And while no, they won't share anything close to a championship bond, my guess is the intensity of what they just went through will indeed be something they always remember. So, Vince, let's talk a little bit more about Oladipo. With just 2 days until the trade deadline, what team do you think needs Victor Oladipo the most with a realistic chance of getting him?
There's a few teams that probably need him, and I know Perk is going to come up with a few, but I think the Knicks can use him. They can use a veteran guard that has the ability to score, that is proven to score. He just has to get healthy, but I think with what Julius Randle is doing and the way that he is playing, Oladipo will be a great complement to that roster and to Julius Randle. You can play him at the point guard. He's played some point guard. Obviously, he's a scorer. He can score. He's been an all-star. So he knows what it takes and can fulfill that role. So I think the Knicks is one stop for him that could possibly make a little noise for them.
Well, to me, Rachel, when I'm looking at this situation, I think that the best place for Victor Oladipo, in my opinion, is the Golden State Warriors, right? You could trade him for Andrew Wiggins and maybe Kelly Oubre. That's clearing up a lot of cap space. Andrew Wiggins making $30+ million a year, and then you convince him with the culture that the Golden State Warrior has that to re-sign back. And then next year you have a three-headed monster in Steph Curry, Victor Oladipo, and Klay Thompson, along with a Draymond Green and a James Wiseman. That is a nice starting five. So I'm really considering, if I'm the Warriors, acquiring him, because I think that's a team that you could call a title contender. And by the way, if I'm Victor Oladipo, I would love to go to the Warriors, just for the simple fact that you're not going to go play with any other superstars right now like Klay and Steph Curry. So why not go there, embrace that culture? They get back to winning ways, get back to where they trying to go, to the promised land and winning championships, because the way that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson play, not relying on their athleticism, both of those guys have at least 5 to 6 years left in their tank of good basketball.
Well, I like that both of you are suggesting teams that aren't necessarily win right now this year teams, because Vic is still working his way back from that injury. We have seen several other players take more than a year in some cases to really become themselves again. And look, with the Golden State fit, obviously, then you have a team that is, waiting more this year. But next year, boom, you're right, Perk. He's right back there with stars. It's interesting, though. Adrian Wojnarowski tweeted just today talking about the Heat and Knicks, who have both been contenders for Oladipo's services as well. Maybe they're a little bit more reluctant, although, Vince, I agree with you on that Knicks fit. Very interesting, but again, affirming Houston is likely moving Oladipo before the deadline. So, gonna be interesting. Certainly the hottest name you will hear over the next 48 hours is Victor Oladipo. And congratulations, of course, also to Houston for snapping that streak.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.